Welcome, everyone, to the 2020 All Souls Night spoken word performance. We're coming to you live from, I'm not really sure where I am right now, but we're somewhere in Duluth in a mysterious place in the backwater of an industrial wasteland. Got musicians accompanying us tonight on site. We're live with Clancy Ward on the fiddle or viola or violin, depending on how you hold it. And we've got Mississippi Mike Wolf on the guitar. If there's anything else you'd like to know, you might have to Google it. I'm going to kick the festivities off with a poem I wrote recently. It's entitled, "The Day Your Mom Died." No joke, we had to move in with a neighbor until they could find a place for 4 kids and a Shih Tzu. The neighbor wasn't even that friendly, but she had a big house and a yard we could still hang out at our house because it was right next door. Your mom was like a mother to me. I know it sounds funny, but when my mom left, your mom was there right away, telling me she had me and not to fret, and I don't think there was a single greater factor in my life that helped me know it was all going to be okay. Then your mom died, and now what are we going to do for a mom or a dad? But I never had one anyway, which is why I'll probably always be bad at throwing shit. And the basketball coach was always chatting up your mom when she came to watch me ride the Pine home games when there wasn't snow on the ground, for fuck's sake. Your mom hated the cold, but there wasn't money for mittens, much less moving to Cali or Arizona like she always dreamed of. I don't get why I'm not more sad about her passing, but it's not worth faking it just because I don't want to seem heartless or numb. Even though I'm all that and a hair hardened, like I'd bet the ranch my daddy was. At least that's what I heard between the lines when your mom was keeping me up late on the phone in the early days, having drank too much Malibu or blackberry brandy. Only reason she stopped was because we were going to get taken away and put in foster care, and now look at us. Things happen for a reason, but I'll be goddamned if I can figure out those reasons out for the life of me. It's a good buzz. The next poet up in the 2020 All Souls Night spoken word performance is Julie Gard, coming to you in a pre-recorded segment.
Meeting place. 1. Men and women fish in the brown mouth of Leicester River where it joins with Lake Superior. They stand patiently for hours, tongues of water lapping at their dark hip waders. They go out as far as they dare. The river is stained amber with tannin from the pines upstream. The water braces and thrums under ice, over rocks, all winter. The river flows fast and one way. 2. The boys who jump into the river from high rocks are usually fine, but sometimes break backs, sometimes die. When sirens veer up 7 Bridges Road and stop in just that place, we listen to the silence from our house. Sometimes the people fishing walk in too far, like the man whose boots filled with water. The current carried him out, and he almost went under, but didn't. Someone in a little boat saved him. 3. A teenage boy passed through the river mouth last summer. His heart beat all the way down. The water was rolling brown foam after a week of heavy rains. We had never seen the water that high, not even the old people. He stepped into the river and passed half a block from our house. We weren't home and couldn't save him, and his best friend couldn't, nor the EMTs, nor his father who'd already lost a son. The boy passed into open sea and became it. 4. Snow falls on and becomes the water where it joins and merges. Trickle turns to creek and creek to river. The lake remains one size on the map, always taking in. This fall, I watch a deer turn to soil by the river mouth, from hole to flesh to bone, just feet from where everything opens. At first, I look away, but keep returning. I'm also going to read 3 pieces from a series called Election Season, which I wrote during the 2016 election season, our last presidential election, and some parts of it resonate now as well, mostly unfortunately. But here are a few parts from that series. 'Tis the season of leaked tax returns, burnished vines, and homeless men carrying amber water through the woods. A student dies in the heart of the city, and the summer months chill but don't go away. I wake to an apparition saying, "Just trust me on this one." There's a shady byline on the stories she waves before me. "We'll get it cleared up," she says, "and everyone will vote as they please." She props her unfurled flag against the dresser. The folds of her white gown are creased with 90 years of storage. "I'm campaigning again," she says, leaning on my dresser. "It's an experiment. Take a chance," she says, then lies down and disappears into the floorboards. The paper she leaves behind tells of the Truman election, and I read it here in bed. There is another country in this country, my own family. Election season shows how many countries we are. The weight of the problem is the weight of my body, down a pound today, up 1 tomorrow. Who would I be in a world without panic, in a world not constantly ending? I am far away, but also at the joining. There is so much symmetry in the body, parts mirrored. I long to stand in the wood with a deer, so quiet. Give in, make talk. The bomb is ours and the means to disable. So let's extract the wire with a careful hand and look at what we've saved. Thank you.
Everybody, so excited to be here tonight. I'm Zomi Bloom with a few poems for you around grief. There's a tenuous space between life and death. Danger in the writing. Enter at your own risk. The first few poems were written during a time when I was having some significant health challenges and really just grieving for the life that I had once known, just being able to eat normally and do normal things. The first one, I swallowed a brick house. I swallowed a brick house, where I laid the weary fears to rest, turned to demons in the night. In the light of day, they banged their fists against the walls. I carried on. The moat swam with bloody barons, trading fish for memories. I put the weary to bed, sliding suddenly in their eyes, sit tight for a while. Brick house swam an icy chamber, knocking holes in the walls, and out swam the fish. Gave way to jagged edges, and comfort sheen removed, slipped away into the deep. I thought all was lost and rejoiced. An iceberg sank the Titanic, jagged edges, ripped me from bow to stern. I'm left wanting. How can I carry on? All that I wanted is lost. Perched on a lake, on a raft, center of cold lake, silver flashes dart, the distance to shore. Vise tightens. and another in my sickness series, or so I call it, more about the problem. Setting, a year later, and still in pain. Neatly summarized on my medical record: bloating, status post-cholecystectomy, irritable bowel syndrome, generalized anxiety disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, major depressive disorder, forgot to mention smarty pants, exceptionally restless, eternal questioner, single mother, and slave to computer screen. More about the problem. I'm not writing. That is the problem. But why does it matter if I have an audience or if I have time? The belly. I don't know if fructose is part of the problem. The world is intensely bright, even if I try to stick myself into the wall. What is the problem? Well, I'd hoped it would go away. The problem isn't startle, the knives and plates banging, or not getting caught drunk. The belly. I learned about gluten-free bread and grams of fat and bags of chips and eat dark chocolate anyway. The problem. I wish a little bit for a prince to come. Yes, I do. We would duel. I'm in a fighting mood. For someone who writes all these words, for they'll never see the light of day. I said it was bright in here. So I ask you this. What if I brought you the following? Would you hear me then? Grant me the space to be free and clear. Acetabulum, mandibular, joints, synovial fluid, and answers that crack in translation. Not a word was spoken. My fingers stain paper with grease. Students study anatomy on the laptop at a nearby table. I place another whole chip in my mouth and clamp down and wonder if this will be the one to reject and send me into a frenzy. I can't stop. It's as if I had never eaten chips before, and I see I'm running out of paper. I must crack the chips until they break me. The desire, bigger than me and yet willful to live inside of me. I may be onto something when I feel hot and sketchy and exposed. Maybe decaf was the wrong medicine. I do want to go home to him, the man, and when I do, I want him to be somebody else. The steam from latte escapes in the form of headburn, and I think I forgot to breathe. All this shit I'm writing, it could be my grandmother's perfume, it could be just another trigger, a green muffin or crushed almonds. Potato chips meet 12% of my nutritional need for vitamin C on a daily basis. The problem. My give-a-shit sense is broken. I'm either tethered to the impossible or hiding in my bedroom and blaming the alarm as someone else. I can't believe in the back sheets of work papers on which I imagine I could write volumes even as I work. I dove again into the places that doubt. I wrote on the other side. I wrote, understand the problem before trying to solve the problem. I understand the problem all right. That humanity is a sham, that death is inevitable, and when in life all of everything and also nothing matters. So now, go live your fucking life. The things I say to myself. I'm gluten intolerant as proxy and sitting in the sun wishing for rain, for someone to save me so I can battle them by moonlight. A win means trek up lonely mountain and sit under the stars and wet grass and also eat alone, sleep alone, and prove once again there is no hope, for me at least, and most of which there never was, which I would paint in blood on the faces of the lying traitors. You eat your illusion, I'll eat mine until I can't go any further. God, why? You've put us all here to die. Say again my name. Tell me that you love me. And I'll finish with a poem about my dear cousin, Mark, who passed away a few months ago. Hospice is the word, a doorway. Harmonica Mark. A note to cousin Pam, my heart is breaking. And she responds, I will sit with you and hold your hand. I stumbled on my injured knee in the woods and called my forbidden. Mark is gone. In my mind, I'm going to Carolina. James Taylor, Alison Krauss on repeat. I am trying to write a poem for Mark, but first I have to believe he's not there spinning tunes on the couch. I'm remembering the crunch and slide of boiled peanuts in an apartment building. Age I don't know, event I don't remember, but I remember him. And peanuts. Salt, creamy, and warm. Expecting a snap, but teeth sank in. Soft and salt of the earth. And then I'm watching his hands. Sweet herb and grease. Listening to his steady breath. I swear I can hear his heartbeat. And my heart slows to follow. Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful. It's wonderful. Thanks for coming too. Appreciate you coming.
Good to meet you, Noe.
Too.
Can't you feel? Are we live still? Cool. Get that one out of your head. All right. Well, this has been titillating so far, and I would be remiss AF if I didn't make an acknowledgement. I believe the kids are calling it a shout out to Mary Plaster, the mastermind behind All Souls Night,
Woo, 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 woo.
whom I respect an incredible amount, and I'm very indebted to her for entrusting me this role, which a trained monkey could do. But just kidding. I'm very honored to be here with all of the people in this room. So just say that. That's not the weed talking. Okay.
Pop it up.
Yeah. Cheers. The examined life. Honestly, I wonder if mine is worth all the fuss sometimes. Admittedly, I've got quite the nerve, always fidgeting with the trigger of too much firepower. I'm here, I have learned to enable you, to make your shadow dreams come true. Ever wonder what life would be like without all the blue-eyed boys, their blonde locks bobbing around as they frolic about the town? Let us for a moment suppose that you are the stuff of legend, and then one day you go blind. Glasses, cane, seeing eye dog, the whole nine. I'll still love you. You'll find yourself alone more, unless you consider your dog. And hell, most dog owners do. Companionship is companionship, even when it drools. I know, I'm hilarious. Real talk, though. This waitress wants my time management skills, and if something like that was giftable, I'd be tempted. Okay, it's 9:30 a.m., and I'm feeling so good, I might get a cocktail. Cocktail has got to be about the silliest word they could come up with for alcoholic mixed drink. When you break it down by its parts, cock and tail, it makes you think of a rooster. Sugar, bitters, bourbon, ice, orange twist. Cherry if you're fancy, splash of soda if you're a total a-hole, or from Wisconsin. I'll water down my booze the old-fashioned way, thanks. I digress, and admittedly have become belligerent. Truthfully, I am underqualified to help myself. Honestly, I like myself the way I am, and in all seriousness, I need professional help. Thank you for snapping along at home. Yes, thank you to the boys in the band. It's Mississippi Mike Wolf behind the weird mask. What is that? Pumpkins? Gourds.
Squash.
Beautiful. Clancy wore it in the other decorated mask with the print. What is it?
Flowers.
Okay. I was like, a couple weeks ago, I was like, I need to start color coordinating my masks, because why wouldn't you? I never did. Yeah, whatever. I do have my glam mask. Thing is sick. You only need one. Really good one. Going clear. Yeah? I love what you guys are doing. Going clear. It has become clear I've lost my effect on you. Become old hat, this song and dance routine. Every day for a week now, I feel like a plate of cold poutine. Yet, here I am, recycling the myths, calling upon the ones from the depths. Not today, they say. I'm ashamed to admit I'm sick of my own bullshit. Still, it's as grandfather told it when we were knee-high to a grasshopper. Now I can't look when someone insists, watch this. I only squeeze my eyes shut and wonder what grandfather's pals thought as his bike gained momentum as he descended Big Chester, the same ski jump a jogger found our friend Michael at the foot of after a 2-day search for the boy. They say death takes practice. And if it's true, then in the same way a planet spins on its axis, and the richer you are, the less you pay taxes. Just stand back as the procession of black sedans passes. God bless the wedded ones, and the hackers and slashers of life, and the jackasses. If I'm going to hell, I'll take the free handbasket. I miss you sometimes, you know. Do you, though? I miss the kisses on the lips and everything in betwixt, which is just old school speak for between. I miss treating you like a queen. I miss acting like a couple of teens who had too much caffeine. When it was over, or beginning to be, I begged you to put out a zine, and you agreed. That shit lives on in us like a deck of some obscure tarot, buried beneath an ancient monument erected by a pharaoh. A testament to his love's longevity for wife after wife after wife after wife, each one a little less like the next, each one shorn clean off at the neck. Thank you, guys. Snap it. Snap it if you can. Some people can't snap. Yeah? Those first two were written around the same time. It was just like, it must have been a lot of drugs. I don't know. It was dark. Probably more drinking than anything. Pre-pandemic. That's just a short one. I'll just fucking bang it out. Mm-hmm. You guys are we good?
That's what he said.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to lighten things up. Here.
Lighten things up.
I would and I could. I'm not afraid to go to Houston with you. Houston is my favorite city I've never wanted to visit. It's like a dilapidated castle feature in an aquarium I've never owned. It's the chainsaw capital of the Southwest. We could swing by the OK Corral wearing 10-gallon hats with 11 gallons of head crammed into them. Your horse will be named Dusty, mine, Midnight. As long as we're dreaming, let's assume that romantic love is a thing either of us have any regard for. Oh, and that you're not still married with 2 kids, and that I'm heir to the throne of some remote Pacific island. Shh, don't wake me up. All right. We've got, I've got two more. Yeah. And we'll do 3 more. I'll do this long one, okay? Why not? You guys we're all digging it, right? Okay. Holy mother. Political one. Just kidding. This is called Alienation. I wrote this when I got back from a long trip, and a friend offered to put me up at her house. Of all the lodging options in the world, he chose this one. The one with the obnoxious cat and the hostess who wore not getting her shit together like a fucking badge of honor. Now, you're sitting on the toilet. On the toilet, mind you. Penning some ode to the quality of this numbness. Because it's a weird one. Albeit a contented one. One might say there's a fullness to it. But I say it's an emptiness. That's what contented is, though. There you are, swaddled in the flag of a nation with only one citizen. It's not alienation, dummy. It's an alien nation. He tried to fight it. He went vegan for a whole week. He stopped having sex with weird single mom middle school teachers at random intervals. He went to the beach in late autumn at night and made fires and sang quietly songs of mourning. Nevertheless, he persisted. And then one day he got a phone call. The voice came through clear as mountain spring water, saying, "This is Top Health, calling about your current state of well-being. Did you know that 67% of hospital visits are preventable?" He hung up because he knew that, but felt like the number had gone down as of late and wondered why. He would figure it out. It was likely due to hedonism, to the lack of struggle, to contentedness, the unwavering sense that all would be, well, no matter what. No wonder he was numb. That's a bleak existence. It's the one that many of us know and continue to know at an alarming rate. It's the one that has me sitting on this toilet wishing for more realness, less just kind of whatever, less, she seems like a nice girl, what's her story? It's a pretty depressing one. She's a stripper and a single mom. Aren't they all basically the same, though? Aren't we all essentially the same? I'm beginning to think not. Let me get back to the essence here. I'm alone and content. And if I'm alone and content, that's a very bad thing. We'll need a plan in place this week. A roadmap for guys who have made a habit out of community solicide. A business plan for the contented with bullet points and graphs and a vision statement of this ilk. We are all going to become all that we imagine we can be. And that is the new mantra of the dead white man. Got right to the hollow bone. Cool, yeah. Oh, is she? Are we doing Tina now? Let's do it. Oh, I just want to keep going. It's such a rush. So, it is my honor, once again, to introduce Tina Higgins as the next poet of the 2020 Duluth All Souls Night Spoken.
Hello, my name is Tina Higgins-Wuso. I'm really happy to be here with all of you, even in this format. It's really fun to be a part of it. So thank you for asking. I have 3 pieces to share today. The first one is about my dog. Henry just propped himself up. 2 paws on the kitchen floor, 2 more on the counter's edge, and took in his mouth a nub of bread, the butt, the heel. I am graced enough in this life that I do not need it, want it, or think of it, beyond the quick conclusion that I am too good for bread butts. When Henry came down from the counter with the butt in his mouth, I made a grunting noise meant to seem intimidating. His eyes flashed guilt, or rather recognition that he had been caught. The hinge of his jaw went slack, and the nub of bread fell to his paws. There was a moment between us where he was testing me for kindness, for the potential of my heart's generosity as he hovered over his loot. But as the rational one, I explained, Henry, I cannot let you have it, not when you take it with such arrogance, such entitlement, such swagger. We are supposed to be careful, ask first, deny ourselves, and then eat slowly. But haven't I been trying to teach Henry these skills since I brought him home 8 years ago? Why do I keep giving him a test he will never pass? I put the nub in the compost and he went to his spot on the couch, and then I wrote in the bright winter sun, making shadows of the clutter across the dining room table. And now I feel awful. I will bring him the bread butt and let him eat it on the couch. I was wrong to demand him shame and refuse him what I never wanted in the first place. Can you imagine? I threw it in the compost bin, in a stinky pile of coffee grounds and eggshells, rather than let him have what I never wanted. I have become the dirt ball out of a Steinbeck novel. The gift. When the first fingers wrapped themselves around the coconut, a small skull of coarse brown hair. When the first human broke apart its impermeable shell, held it high overhead, and slammed it all the way down to the rock face waiting at his feet, exerting more effort with every attempt, offering more abundant and ever louder prayers. How did he know the effort would be worth the sweet flesh inside? How did he know the reward of flesh existed at all? When the first fingers clawed through the exposed meat, lifted it to dry lips, dropped it down a hollow throat to feed a stomach of all bloat and acid, was it raining after months of drought? Did the gift of nourishment ignite his weak heart? And this is my most important question. Did he hold a generous portion out to his waiting daughter? Did she understand just then, as her new teeth cut through the firm, creamy fruit, that what had been offered was love? That what had been offered was enough? Did she understand, as no one else understood, that we cannot unlearn what we have learned? We can only choose not to take a gift into our bodies. We can only choose not to walk by it whole and undisturbed, resting in a dented bed of warm sand, and refuse to wonder if the center is empty or if it is waiting. My final poem tonight was included in the most recent album from the Fontanelles, called A Time at the Cabin. Dave Mailing of the Fontanelles did a really cool job of taking the spoken word of this poem and incorporating it into a song. So I'm really proud of that project with him. I've titled this, it was never titled before, but now it's titled Addiction. When she takes off her dress, it pours to her feet, the shine of a black sky falling. Time swirls, water floods from open faucets, not a drop is guilt. My words are lumbering shadows, a cloud of locusts pretending to be fireflies. In auburn light, her hair shines gold, and some distance behind the surface of her eyes is a road I will never walk. Once again, she moves up the street in that black dress, coming at me faster this time. A train, a bolt, a hammer falling down. Every step is a hazard, every boss a master. And memory is a split seed of our own design. In mine, she looms tall, a canopy of pine. In memory, she is silent. I am a fool. My skin burns. There is fire. It hisses behind my eyes, and I am a fool. Even so, she takes up my hand, though I am not wounded. And I hear the water rush, the locusts click, click, clicking. Her smile a stitch the salve, the sting of alcohol cools. We are not wounded. We are the wound. And so seldom are we tended to. Thanks so much for listening.
We're back. Oh, Tina, that was amazing. Really, always been a fan. And these guys know that I didn't actually hear the poetry, so they think I'm a fake. But I know that it was amazing. So, can we get a bigger light bulb? No? Okay. So I'll read a couple more, and I will preface these last two by trying to come up with something sort of deep and meaningful, but I'm going to stall so I can come up with something. And in the meantime... Just kidding. I'm going to just read a poem. Okay. Whew. Anything was better than me fumbling through that. This is called... God, this is graphic. This is called Contains Graphic Imagery.
Oh, I know this one.
You do?
Yeah, you read it at the folk school one time.
Ah, that's gnarly.
Yeah.
So, if you listen to true crime podcasts, I'm not sure we can be friends. Explain to me what is so fascinating about he took the 8-year-old twins to an abandoned garage on the edge of town, tortured them, and skinned them, and burned their bodies, and constructed a Stonehenge-like structure from their bones. I mean, what the fuck, dude? I can't, and I won't. Half the time you learn that the fuckers are still out there kidnapping and killing and giving entire communities the heebie-jeebies. Why, friends, are you into this vile testament to humankind's ability to defile each other in the most gruesome way imaginable? It's disturbing enough to know that these atrocities happened, but you want to know what they used to tie them up with, and where they disposed the remains, and how they stored the bodies in a cellar, and how normal they seemed to their co-workers, and the childhood trauma they endured, and what their high school girlfriend had to say. All that psycho shit that drove them over the brink and into bloodlust. And that is why I stick to the topics that nourish the human spirit, like psychedelics and relationships. Consider the following. I can't feel you unless I'm high. Unless I'm high on you, like I was in summer, when the hollyhocks towered over the swaying grasses, and you looked so sexy in your Jackie O sunglasses. No murder needed to make you mine. Never felt the need to scrawl sweet nothings on the side of a barn, or leave a cereal box filled with human hair on the side of a blue highway, to show you just how crazy I am about you. I just want your extra time and your kiss. And if I gotta be a little high for this, just be glad I'm not a psychopath, baby. Someone honestly gave me the chills. Okay. Whew. Wow.
Intense.
It was, but I mean, it's seasonal. It's
For a minute.
apropos. I mean, yeah. I'm not kidding. I censored that a little bit. I was like, wow, it's a lot.
And you're not making that shit up.
No. I did. Did I?
You did.
But you know what? The folk school's like the last bastion of free speech in Duluth. Okay.
You're here.
Yeah. Yes. And for my next poem, Why I'll Never Be Poet Laureate.
Is that what it's called?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
D's not.
I keep trying to go.
Okay. All right. Back home after a massage. It's about yay long, guys. It is the smell of my apartment that says to a small gathering of inebriated newfound friends, the man who lives here is a gentle sort. You will find him intriguing and lousy with boyish charm. He will give you the sense that everything is in its proper place, and there is God in the tiny patterns that adorn a child's woolen mitts. It's too bad the wages of sin is death, because I've waged a lot of sin, and I don't want to die. In the coffee shops of Budapest, you can still smoke cigarettes, and do they ever. In Belgrade, there's a diner next to the main train station that is the world's poorest lit eatery on record. It is a cave where patrons go to give their essence back to wherever it comes from. You can order breakfast with Beelzebub himself. I can't believe I took my daughter there in a blizzard once. A part of me lingers there still. That is dark. That's why I brought that poem. It is dark. That coffee shop, whatever it was the scariest, saddest place I've ever been. I'm not gonna cry. Okay. Guys, thank you for playing. Okay.
Thank you for wearing that hat.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. To get this hat out, I was pulling on this basket that was underneath this workbench at my house. And I had to like try to lift up the shelf, and my hand got pinched under there. We're like, you're alone, right? But for some reason, you're still making these sounds like someone's going to hear you. I was just like, ow! Anyway, I got it out. My hand's fine.
There's this moment in fall when we need to pull out our winter garb.
Yeah.
And it came earlier than expected this year. And it's always just a point of like,
Yeah. Totally. But if you do it.
Once you do it, you're fine.
Yeah. I did it like a week before I went to Arizona for a week. I put away all my summer clothes. And I was like, oh, shit. Anyway. Here we go. Not that I'm traveling right now in this pandemic.
Good to have a little pain with that, actually.
Bad example.
Mm-hmm. All right. This is not about death. I don't think. It's called The One. If there was a 1, then one would expect there'd be a 2. And if a 2, then surely a 3, and so on and so forth. But because it seems there is no 1 for me, then it stands to reason that there is no 2, and no 3 either. Thus, there is no we, unless it's royal. And beyond that point, what's left to boil down? Don't frown upon my silly theory. I'm half awake and outside is cold and dreary. This morning precludes whatever's left of the month we shared, lovely, though bereft, of what was shiny, somewhat fresh, though far from new, something hidden beneath one's breast. Something to be more so than do, something muttered beneath one's breath. Could it be honest? Yes, but could it be true? The one who finds themselves looking too long in the mirror, the other searching for themselves in words. And when the time is up, neither will have found the other, because nature has a way of knowing what cards are hid and which are showing. And these ones happen to be different flowers, with very different leaves, scents, and special powers. It's perfect timing that it's spring, because who knows what summer will bring? The truth will all be known quite soon, and all the flowers will be in bloom. There won't be one, there'll be 1,000, with summer breezes to arouse them all. Then, with a shift of wind, it will be fall. Thank you. You guys like the rhymes? You guys like rhymes? What was it?
Internal rhymes. Yeah.
Let's do it. Oh, good. Am I good? Did I? Okay, sweet. Oh yeah, I read 3 poems. That's okay. All right.
It's good to have a lighthearted one.
I just really like reading poems, so I appreciate everyone. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Thanks for tuning in to the 2020 All Souls Night spoken word performance, coming to you live from we won't tell you. Next performer tonight is Rocky Makes Room, and give it up for him in whatever way that you can.
Okay, hi, I'm Rocky, and I'm very honored to do some reading, and I have a few that I would like to pick out. I think we were gonna read a little bit about grieving, and so I was able to come across some of the writings in my past and maybe some recent ones, and I'll share those with you. So I'm just gonna go right into them. A lot of my poems don't have titles, and I'm not quite sure why yet, but I've gotten there yet. So I've written all my poems I've ever written that I really don't have a title to any of them. I just go right into whatever it is. So anyways, it's as a river you wade in until you get to the other side. But I'm here, stuck in the middle, water parting around my ankles, moving downstream. I'm not able to lift a foot, move on. Instead, I'm going to stay here in the shallows with my sorrow, nurture it like a cranky baby, rock it in my arms. Yes, the July sunlight wraps me in its yellow shawl. The air is sweet as golden honey. Oh, how I miss June's silver moon. On the other side, there is long green strands of sweetgrass, lunar moths, chokecherries, and the rocks are hot from the sun. But I'm going to stand here, growing colder, until every inch of my skin is numb and I can't cross over. Then you will really be gone. Grief is like the moon. It goes through phases. Sometimes it's a silver waning, the darkness creeping in from the right when you least expect it. Sometimes it takes up most space, waxing. You feel it just after the sun sets, when you have a minute to sit down and think. Sometimes it's full, illuminating everything because the sun and moon moved closer to each other in the sky. You and me, so close, but so far. And sometimes when it's new and the darkness isn't so lonely anymore. Coyote was grieving and came upon Buffalo basking in the sage in the hot sun. Coyote said he was sad and hungry, and he asked Buffalo to give him something to eat. Tatanka says, well, why aren't you like me, a big buffalo, and eat grass? Coyote says, well, grandfather, I would like for you to turn me into a buffalo. Buffalo says, well, you must break your bow and arrow and have a strong heart. He placed Coyote on the sage and he charged at him. Coyote got scared and jumped out of the way. And so 3 more times, finally, Tatanka told him to close his eyes and the buffalo charged him. They came to be 2 buffalo with their horns locked. Buffalo told Coyote Buffalo to eat grass, and he did. Buffalo told Coyote Buffalo that they will fight against the chief of the herd so that they may have a chance to have children. And they do, and they kill him. That night, they fell asleep in a valley, and Coyote Buffalo slept so hard that when he awoke, the herd had already moved on. Coyote Buffalo wasn't mad, and he didn't even follow the herd. He met up with another coyote sitting in the sun. Coyote Buffalo told Coyote to break his bow and arrow and have a strong heart. He placed Coyote on sage, and he charged him, and Coyote moved. And he moved 3 more times. Coyote Buffalo told Coyote to close his eyes, and he charged him. When they came to, they were 2 coyotes sitting there, giggling away, laughing. When I was little and my grandma wanted to make soup, she would clasp her hands together and make an earthen pot. Grandpa would dip his hands in the hot soup as they turned into the stars of the Big Dipper. Lightning would show up and eat and bless us with water of life. He would shake the ground with his yawns. We grew like seeds, and the language thrived in us as we began to learn how to be relatives. When we wanted something sweet, Grandma would ball her fist up and pretend to throw it up to the sun. Branches of choke cherries would grow from her fingertips, and they would shake and fall right into our little hands. In the nighttime, they told us stories of how the earth was made from loneliness and compassion. My grandpa would sing songs, and the coyotes would join him, and we would turn into rabbits, and we would hold hands with Grandma and dance with life. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and an occasional spin. Oh, what I wouldn't do to have those days again, to taste the prayers of soup and choke cherries, to watch the distant lightning and hear the distant fading thunder. So those are some of the poems I was thinking about when the grieving, and I'm very honored to share this with you, and I hope this helps us heal and move on and continue writing, and I can't wait to hear everybody else's poems, and be safe out there and have a good evening. Thank you.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight for, what is this event called again?
Duluth All Souls Night.
Duluth All Souls Night 2020, and we're doing our best because of, obviously, COVID. We're very excited. People are tuning in online, and hopefully next year we can see you in person. But Bob Monahan's been a great host. Everyone behind the scenes have been beautiful. I'm Mississippi Mike Wolf, and this is my buddy Clancy Ward. And we're going to play a song I wrote about an old car that my parents had.
Woo!
AM radio and bubble gum, baseball cards and a new cap gun. Me and Mama at the county fair, we both had freckles, peach blonde hair. These are the things that come to my mind whenever I smell old Naga hide. Baked all day in the hot, hot sun, like we sat on back when we were young in our old used car. There was yellow foam sticking out the holes in the seats, and empty Coke bottles rolling around our feet. It was day to day, it was week to week, with no air in the summer, and in the winter no heat. Oh, these Mama and Daddy let them back. I wouldn't trade that for a new Cadillac. 'Cause we were happy though the times were hard. We had food in our bellies, grass in our yard, and old used car. Help me out, Clancy. Old used car, never went too fast, never went too far. You gotta know where you come from to know where you are. And I came here in an old used car. I came here in an old used car. Well, every month we'd hope and we'd pray that old car could make it to the next payday. Dad could get down to the junkyard and dig around till he found just the right part. Scraping his knuckles, he'd cry, he would cuss, he'd ask Chevrolet what they had against us. Why we'd been cursed with the grease and the rust that we couldn't live without, and we never could trust that old used car. Alright. Old used car, never went too fast, never went too far. Gotta know where it come from to know where you are. And I came here in an old used car. I came here in an old used car. Well, it's funny sometimes I reminisce. Sometimes I sit back and I wish that I could turn the hands of time, get back in that car with that family of mine, Mama and Rachel and Daddy too, going to work and going to school, going down to the grocery store, all of us climbing out the only functioning door of that old used car. Old used car, never went too fast, never went too far. Gotta know where you come from to know where you are. And I came here in an old used car. I came here. Let's do it one more time. Old used car, never went too fast, never went too far. Gotta know where you come from and know where you are. And I came here in an old used car. I came here in an old used car, and when I leave tonight, it'll be in an old used car. So thank you very much. Now we're gonna do one more here. What do you want to do? You want to do Edward one?
No, let's do what was I thinking? The
He's thinking.
I can't think of the names of them. Anyway.
Well, then we're gonna do Thunderbird one. Well, I was sitting in the bus stop down in Dallas, talking to a pretty girl I'll call Alice, though I do admit, never did get her name. She's telling me her whole life story, some of her failures, some of her glories, and the pretty things she's seen along the way. Now, I ain't bragging, but I think she might have taken me home that very same night if didn't her voice go over that station B8. Then hurrying up, bust through the tins, I grabbed a bag, said goodbye, and then I jumped on that great dog before LA. I'm shaking that, ooh, Thunderbird wine makes me feel happy, makes me feel fine. Only cost me $1 a dime. Lord, I love that Thunderbird wine. Ooh, Thunderbird wine, breaking my memory, shaking my mind. All the things that a boy can find in the bottom of a bottle of Thunderbird wine. I was rolling through Texas in the middle of the night. Big yellow moon was the only light that was shining on that great big empty space. I saw me a vision, I saw me sight, gave me a scare, it gave me a fright. It was a reflection of my very own face. 'Cause I've been rolling for far too long, took too many turns and all of them wrong, and I don't think I can keep this awful pace. But I got me a secret, I keep it hid. It's a magic potion with a twist off it. I take a few drinks, disappear without a trace. Oh no. Ooh, Thunderbird wine makes you feel happy, makes you feel fine. It only cost me $1 a dime. Get a liquor store every single night. It's ooh, Thunderbird wine, breaking my memory, shaking my mind. All the dreams that a boy can find at the bottom of a bottle of Thunderbird. Ha, 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 wine, right? Sitting in Las Vegas County Jail without a single friend to go my bail, but I think they'll let me out when I sober up. Gonna take every single nickel I got, gonna drop them into the very first lot, 'cause it's about time this old boy has some good luck. Gonna buy me a bottle of Thunderbird wine, a new bus ticket and a good shoe shine. I'm gonna get back on the Greyhound bus. But I'll be in LA by Sunday morning. Don't you dare say that I did not warn you. First thing I'm gonna do is get good drunk, and I'll be drinking that ooh, Thunderbird wine. Makes you feel happy, makes you feel fine. It only cost me $1 a dime now. Thunderbird wine. Ooh, Thunderbird wine, breaking my memory, shaking my mind. All of the dreams that a boy can find at the bottom of a bottle of Thunderbird wine. All right, Clancy, let's jam a little bit now. All right, thank you very much. Well, I'm Mr. Being Like Wolf, and this is Clancy Ward, and we love y'all, so thank you.
That was not solemn at all.
Solemn.
It's not solemn.
That was fantastic. I resist stomping my feet sometimes. That was really difficult
Don't
to
resist.
do. Don't resist. If you when you resist, that means you have to do it.
Don't resist.
There is no resistance. Like
Yeah, no, Elder, you were doing
so.
a good shuffle.
I've attempted
Can you
to.
do some shuffle while you read this next?
I mean, they just painted the floor. I don't know. Yeah, seriously. What is next? Yeah, I'm just gonna go right into the next poet because I have said plenty. It's very difficult to just introduce Ellie Schoenfeld and just say, "Here's Ellie Schoenfeld." But that's what I'm gonna do. Here.
Hello, I'm Ellie Schoenfeld, and I'm really happy to be part of this wonderful reading that happens every year. So many thanks to Mary Plaster and Daniel and everyone else who is working on this project. I have a couple of poems. The first one is called Galileo. Oh, Galileo, how the pendulum swung and then swung back to a time you would recognize. Scientists muzzled like dogs, so only the stories sanctioned by the new Inquisition can be heard. It's nothing but money and power these days, too. Oh, Galileo, the tides keep ebbing and flowing, but so far the moon has not slipped out of her orbit. So far we can still see the stars, though always fewer and fewer as we light up the nights, burning our carbon, fueling our predictable extinction. O Galileo, the heartbeat of our times marches us to our doom as we cling to an economy of ideas built on sand, and now the waters are rising, coming for us, just as the scientists said they would. O Galileo, these days we sit in our houses or on the streets and gaze up to the skies. Think about pendulums that swung and dropped us back down into the dark ages, where we tried to send science packing again, where we have forgotten that science has no luggage and no ticket, will not be banished, will unfurl its elegant trajectory, the math of our annihilation, whether we believe in it or not. This poem is called Typhoid Mary. And for any of you who aren't familiar with the history of Typhoid Mary, she was a cook back in somewhere, I think the mid 1800s, who had typhoid and refused to take any kind of precautions and just kept cooking for various people. And of course they got sick and some died. And anyway, Typhoid Mary. Typhoid Mary wasn't taking any crap either from the tyrannical government who sought to interfere with her right to work. Typhoid Mary was also not going to give them any of her crap or any of her urine for their oppressive testing. Sure, she might be carrying the infectious agent, and sure, people might get sick, might die, and did, but she felt fine, took it as her right to stay out there and cook. Typhoid Mary refused to cooperate with the government trying to keep people alive. She refused to wash her hands of anything but good sense and concern for others, and so she didn't. Let's see. So in this kind of reading about grief, and I just thought, well, this is a poem about, sometimes some regrets. A lot of people say they have no regrets, and I want to know what they've been doing. Anyway, this poem is just called, I Keep Trying to Give Parts of My Past Away. I go to the past store and try to return certain chunks, but they want a receipt, which I don't have. I try to donate to the used past store, figure even the worst parts are not as heavy as what a lot of people carry, but right now they are full up with pasts like mine. I try to give pieces of it to younger people who are just starting out and might have a use for a nice vase, some vintage dishes, a little extra past. But these days they are all minimalists with no interest in anything from me. I try to fling bits of the baggage away here and there like a flock of frisbees, but the past is made up of boomerangs, foiled again. And it's the last poem I'm going to read. It's a short poem I wrote a long time ago about a friend who I still miss, as we keep missing our people who pass. This poem is called Fern. I sit alone at your funeral while people I've mostly never met talk about you, and the minister, who clearly never had a discussion with you regarding your theological thoughts, discusses your soul. Your beautiful fern-like soul unfurling into the next world. I close my eyes, feel an errant frond touch my cheek. Thank you very much.
Are we live? Just kidding. Hey guys and gals. Before we go any further, I just need to make a couple of brief announcements. The main one is I'll get to the second one if I can remember it. But the main one is that this performance and the entirety of this year's All Souls Night festivities are obviously in the spirit of All Souls Night, but have changed. And God, I wish that Mary Plaster were here and could talk about this. But no. I have. I just want to tell you that the goal of this year's All Souls Night is to actually help raise some money, some fundage for All Souls Nights to come, which will continue to be a thing. This being the 13th year. Go figure. So yeah, if you'd like to see All Souls Night continue, we're gonna have a link in the comments or the text section of this live post, and I'll also give you the link right now just in case you're watching live or after the fact. It is anybody? Oh, I see. You put it in there. Oh no, I can't see it. Oh, find link. Oh, GoFundMe campaign. So yeah, GoFundMe, and then just search Duluth All Souls Night on GoFundMe. It's super easy, and you can also find a link to the campaign on the All Souls Night Duluth Facebook page. Definitely.
Well, we asked Bob to do an extra.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna read one more, and then we're gonna let the guys and I are gonna collaborate on something impromptu. So this is called 2 weeks. Okay. Oh wait, sorry. So, I have a new book out. It's called The Pandemic Papers. And you'll have to find it at a bus stop or randomly at a coffee shop or something. 2 weeks. It seems 2 weeks applies to almost everything. 2 weeks to live, to finish your assignment, to wait for a package from Istanbul, to move out of here, to see buds on the trees, for the test results, before your flight, and so on. 2 weeks is about how long it takes to get bored of something, to want just a little twist on it, something to spice things up. 2 weeks might even be pushing it for some things, like oatmeal or a slide at a playground. 2 weeks in, and even the baseball season seems a little stale. I once lived in a teepee, and right around that 2 week point, we cracked and hopped in the whip and drove straight to Dairy Queen. Best cookie dough blizzard I have ever had, as you can imagine.
Nice.
Thank you.
We're gonna do one more. We'll improv.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus, F. Are we not live? We are. Oh. Oh, it's that fast. I was like, wow, we're just going to take 5. D. All of the popcorn popping in old man Severson's brain. All the popcorn popping in old man Severson's brain led people to believe that he wasn't a science teacher in actuality. Last time we went to the movies, we all ordered our own popcorn, and Mr. Severson just sat and pulled kernels from his head. After midnight, we drove around the loop that leads back to where we started. We drove the loop thinking maybe this time we won't come back to where we started. The loop-de-loop at the mall was a small roller coaster depicting Einstein's face and a theory of relativity that only some people could comprehend. And that's why they call it science, folks. That's why they call it the Great Mystery. Some people say that it's fun to wax on philosophically about bullshit. Full body condoms required at our next show. Just wanted y'all to know that all souls are created equal. Made from the same stuff stars are made of. Just a little closer to Earth. The Stardust Boys are back with pictures that their grandmothers, the constellations that we can't see yet, gifted to them in their dreams. And a little longer. A few more bars. Okay. I love this. I love it so much. I'm gonna name it. I'm gonna name it in the next episode of the Finger Olympics. Coming to you live on a boob tube near you. Probably in your bathroom. Maybe on the couch next to you. Because when you stop and think about it, are we watching it? Or is it watching us? Did I sing?
Oh, please do.
I did. Take it, guys. Next time, for another episode of the Twilight Zone Blues, coming to you from a secret clandestine location near a harbor, near a playground, near a freeway, near an apartment building, near a hillside, and a light, and a fire truck, and a bus. Have a great time out at Duluth. That's the only thing that's open anymore.
Thank you, everybody.
That was awesome. I'm glad you guys encouraged me to get weird.
Yeah. Awesome. We good?